Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to Geeks Watch. Today on Geeks Watch, we're going to talk about the film The Birdcage, an image of which you will see here. The Birdcage is actually a remake of a French film, La Cage Falls, which I'm probably pronouncing incorrectly, which itself was also a film version of a play by the same name. Um, they based the makers of the film and writers actually just kind of updated it to a more modern time, although I think this was made in like 1998, I think. So not quite modern for today's audience. It was over a generation ago. Sorry, Robin Williams as Armand and Nathan Lane as the character's name I can't remember. Albert. Armand and Albert. They are an openly gay couple who owned a nightclub named the Birdcage. Armand is basically the manager of the club, and Albert is the star of the show as a drag queen named uh, Stellarina, I think. Man, getting old sucks. I can't remember a damn thing. The premise of the film, these two men, openly gay men, own a nightclub together. Armand has a son from a one-night stand years ago who comes home from, to visit to announce that he has met a young woman and fallen in love and wants to get married. They're both reluctant. They think he's too young, but they agree to support him in his marriage. However, his fiance's parents are ultra conservative, so he has lied about who they are. He says that, I think he says that his parents are a straight couple, and that his father is like an attaché or an ambassador to Greece or something like that. They are both extremely reluctant to go back in the closet, although I'm not sure if they were ever in the closet, but for the sake of his son's happiness, they agree to the facade for a short period of time, just for the duration of at least getting the wedding plan and stuff. Things ensue. They try and lie to her parents, meeting her parents for dinner. There's all kinds of hijinks. Nathan Lane is the openly extremely flamboyant gay member of the duo, whereas Armand is more reserved. It's a very touching performance by Robin Williams, and a lot of Nathan Lane's flamboyant character is just seems frivolous in a lot of ways, whereas Robin Williams is more the straight man in this comedy, which is unusual for him. He can play the straight man very well. We've seen him in lots of other films where he plays dramatic roles, but this is supposed to be a comedy, and in a comedy he's playing the straight man. Not straight heterosexual, but the less, the non-flamboyant wild character. There's very few scenes in where he is like the traditional, over-exaggerated Robin Williams. He's much more subdued in this, and I think he plays it really well. Some behind-the-scenes stuff. Alan Lane was a hot property at the time. Him having voiced Timon in The Lion King, so he was seen as kind of a hot property. He was scheduled to perform on Broadway when he was approached. Like, they approached Robin Williams for the wacky, flamboyant part of Albert. Williams turned him down because he had just come off playing Mrs. Doubtfire. Didn't want to be the same kind of person, didn't twice more, but he was interested in playing Armand. They approached Nathan Lane. Well, initially they approached Steve Martin for the character of Albert. Steve Martin didn't think he could pull it off in the way that they wanted him to. And they approached Nathan Lane, and Nathan Lane was already scheduled to perform in a play on Broadway, Much Ado About Nothing. The producers of the film actually went to the theater production and asked them to postpone the play so that Nathan Lane could be in the film. Shows how much clout they had and how much, so that was a little interesting bit. The film was critically well received, and even today, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, this thing has 84% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't often bring up Rotten Tomatoes because it's usually crap. But, you know, for a film that came out this long ago, and for as there's some controversial stuff, mostly in Hank Azaria's portrayal as Albert and Armand's Guatemalan houseboy, um, because he uses a very, very exaggerated Latino accent in this. So some people had some issues with that. I'm not so sure, just because, I mean, Hank Azaria is known for being a character actor. He's known for doing voices and accents. And while I understand people do sometimes find that offensive, it's his job to do that stuff, you know? It's his job to portray the character as they've asked him to portray it and do the best he can. He did a great job. You know, he grew up in a neighborhood with Latino people. He ran through a bunch of his friends. That doesn't necessarily make it okay, I guess, but it's like saying, well, I have a friend. It doesn't always cut the mustard, but I think in this instance, maybe some of the reactions were a bit uncalled for, but I'm not South American. I'm not Latino. It might not be my job to say. Anywho, this one was a lot of fun. Like I said, it's one kid, having to want his parents to lie about who they are to impress his girlfriend's parents. Standard trope stuff. There are still some dramatic moments here. There's a scene where the son does not necessarily treat his father very well. Accusing him of being, too gay in one scene. There are some touching moments between Armand and Albert. Middle-aged gay men worried about what the future is going to hold for them. About the two of them as a couple. There are some very touching moments for the premise that this story holds. From the premise, you wouldn't think that they'd have some of those really kind of deeper moments, but they do. And the film is solid. It really is. Start to finish. There's very little to complain about from my end, which, seeing some of my recent reviews, is a bit startling. I've been very critical recently. So that's my take on it. Definitely A material. Solid performances by everyone involved. I think you've got Diane West, Gene Hackman, Nathan, Robin Williams. The supporting actors, I think the woman who played the girlfriend, I recognize her face, and I probably should know who the hell she is. Her name's not on here, and I didn't look it up. So I'm just looking at the back of the box, and I was like, I know that face from somewhere. I think, it's fun. Enjoy it. Watch it. It may be culturally significant. It's not my place to say. As always, thanks for watching. As always, why would you watch this crap? But if you do, go watch more of it, I guess. And until next time, good hunting.